So, let's keep going here. You will see that I am sporting an Inside the Ropes Bret Hart t-shirt here. There is a reason for that. It's simpatico because my number 4 pick is from the 1995 Survivor Series, Bret Hart versus Diesel. People talk about how Kevin Nash couldn't work very well, and I just disagree.
They're wrong.
Like, watch his matches with Bret, Shawn, Taker.
Kevin Nash can't work. Diesel can work.
Diesel can work. Well,
that's the
Diesel
distinction, I think.
The difference was when he was in WWF, he had to try.
Yeah.
When he got to WCW, there was no real reason to try, so he stopped trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 4. I mean, I rewatched parts of it this morning, and the thing that's so good about it is Bret does this thing that I don't really think any modern wrestlers do, which is he like tries to chop him down like a tree, and he does it so well. And Nash's frustration grows, and we talked about this when we were putting 95 over in the tournament, that this match ended in a roll-up and people bought it because it was so clever.
Well, because the whole story was built to that, you know, and it's a great match. It's not on my list, actually. It just didn't make it, but I'm glad it's on yours because it's a real turning point. So, like, Diesel had held the belt for, a year, nearly a year at that point, and he was the lowest drawing WWF champion in history at that point. It's not on him necessarily. The business was in the title.
And they didn't help him because when he won the belt, he was either defending against Bret, who people loved, or the heels that he was given were terrible. I mean, because
one of them was Sid, so be careful. But it's not a great.
Maybe this is not the best place to admit this, because I love Psycho Sid. Hey, that was a big reason why 1996 won, but
he's bad.
Sid in 95 is terrible.
Yeah, he is.
Like with DiBiase and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
And then he had the Mabel match at SummerSlam. So like he didn't have a lot.
That, but then he had Shawn, and Shawn was more popular than him.
But then Shawn, if I guess if wrestlers want to watch it, like if you watch that WrestleMania 11 match, that's Shawn Michaels' friend. He's doing
Shawn
that
does
to
Diesel what he does to Hogan in SummerSlam. Yeah, it's
like by the end of it, you're just like, oh, Shawn Michaels, what a guy.
Well, Kevin Nash says in an interview, he said, he took the worst jackknife ever, and he said like Shawn can do that move without anyone doing it to him, like, so it was obviously intentional, and Nash knew what Shawn's game was. Shawn was mad because he wanted to win the belt, right? So it's like, and he probably should have, to be fair, but we're kind of diverging there. But Diesel's sort of championship reign is quite important to this because they tried, and when he won the belt, he lost his edge. He became Vince McMahon's babyface.
He was the cover of the magazines, going and shaking hands and holding babies.
Wasn't what made him work as Diesel. Diesel, had a bit of an edge. He was cool.
He was Big Daddy cool.
And then he became the Vince McMahon babyface. The stereotype at that point of, like you said, the smiling, baby holding, good guy, generic good guy, and putting him in with all these monsters because that's Vince's sort of booking philosophy. It just didn't work for him at all. But so then it was like, always go back to Old Faithful, which is Bret, and the story of that whole match is, as you say, Bret's chopping him down, and it doesn't work because Diesel gets him in a position where he can beat him, and he feels sorry for Bret, and that one moment of babyface, like Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8 with Bret. Bret's good at making babyfaces doubt themselves. He didn't do the jackknife. Bret did the roll up, and you can see Diesel afterwards, like he mouths "motherfucker." He's just like. Is
that the first time that we saw "motherfucker" being mouthed on a WWF pay-per-view?
Yeah, because WWF had a guy. I think he was called. I can't remember his name. Drew Altman, maybe. But there was a guy who was like involved in behind the scenes, keeping the WWF's relationship with like toy manufacturers and the networks and stuff smooth. And Vince would assure him, "Don't do this. We won't do this. We won't do this. There'll be no blood. There'll be no swearing. There'll be no." And then, on that show, he sees, did he just say "motherfucker"? And then he's like telling everybody, "No, it's on pay-per-view. Like that just slipped through. Like, don't worry." And then the next show, Bret Blades. And it's like. Well, he must have cut himself, and so then he's got this impossible task and WWF's obviously going more and more down that route. Goldust comes in, it's like, how am I going to explain this one to them and things like that, and it gets very complicated for him. But yeah, that was intentional from the WWF, like this edginess. They'd seen ECW, they were aware of it, they were aware that it was getting a buzz, and they were like, well, maybe jump on that bandwagon. And that match is really the first Attitude Era match for me. It's not in the Attitude Era, but it gets you towards
the precursor.
That point. I think so.
What is your number 4?
So my number 4 is from the same show, actually, and it is maybe an unconventional pick. It's an unconventional match. It's the wildcard match. And so it's Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, Owen Hart, and Dean Douglas. One of these is not like the others. And against Ahmed Johnson, Davey Boy, Sid, and Sean. 2
heels, 2 babyfaces in each team.
I think no, Razor's the only face on his team.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. But that's the whole point of the match. It's mix of face and heels, and it's something I guess they've kind of done it with the Raw and SmackDown matches, but not for the same reasons, because obviously Raw and SmackDown matches are a mix and match, as we sort of talked about earlier. But this one, in 95, that just didn't happen. You didn't see heels fighting each other, for sure. Occasionally baby faces, but not heels. Not really. So it's a really interesting match because you've got all this interesting psychology throughout of, Razor and Dean Douglas, who'd been feuding, they're on the same team. How are they going to get on? Yoko and Owen are also on the same team, and, they were the tag champs, or had been the tag champs.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other side, you've got Sid and Sean, who've just been feuding, and Sid had obviously turned on Sean when he was his bodyguard and everything like that. And then Bulldog, who's in Camp Cornette with Owen and Yoko, they're on opposite teams. Then you've got this big unknown, Ahmed Johnson. It's like this new guy, because that's his first match, right?
Yep.
So his first major match, and he's coming in and he's slamming Yoko, he's pinning people, he's beating these big stars, and immediately Ahmed Johnson's this superstar on the same level. And that's genuine, by the way. Like, it's not like Ahmed, people mock him, but he was genuinely a star in 95, 96.
Till he got really injured in the July of 96. He was on the way.
He was on fire. Like,
he was going to... Wasn't he... He'd won a match to get a title shot with Sean.
Yeah, he won a Battle Royal on Raw, and that was the Battle Royal he got injured in. And it's like, what a shame, And then same again in 97. He joined the Nation, turned heel, they did a big brawl, got injured in the brawl. And
turned face again.
Well, he was supposed to face Taker at Canadian Stampede, and he was supposed to face Taker at One Night Only as well.
Well, what could have been.
But at that point, that guy was the baddest, coolest guy you've ever seen. He just comes out dripping with charisma, oiled up to the max, bright red gear. He looks amazing, and he is great in it. And the Yoko slam, it's just like, never mind Luger, it's just off you go. It's like when Warrior used to slam Andre.
I guess because nowadays the wild card is kind of Raw versus SmackDown, right? Because it's babyface and heels having it. So they've kind of used elements of that nowadays, but just not as. They don't play
up to it though, do they? In that way, I guess. But it's just that unusual partners thing, and it's really interesting as a concept. And I like interesting concepts, and it's a shame it never came back. It's not as a match. It's good. It's not great or anything.
It's the story of the match.
It's the story. The build-up's really good. The story within the match. I like a match that tells a self-contained story as well, which it does. And don't get me wrong, if you go and watch it now, it's probably not got the same effect, but it is fun, I think. Still.
Yeah, for sure. Good pick. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, you can sign up to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN means that when you go online, your data is 100% secure no matter what you do on the web. And if you maybe want to watch Canadian Netflix or American Hulu, ExpressVPN have servers in over 100 different countries. We have this amazing Black Friday deal available where you can get 49% off, and the deal is available all the way through to December 14th. All you need to do to sign up is go to itrwrestling.com/VPN.